Hello friends, good morning. Today it's been a while since I have sent an email or we have been recording for this video series for PennyWize. Um, in the past few days, it's not that I've been not working on it. It's that I was working on a feature, the email sending feature. I've been working on that for a long time, and I was having a lot of problems and build errors while sending emails, as well as a few things here and there in terms of like how I would be able to integrate React email within the application instead of having it just create a simple HTML. So in the end, I was able to solve the problem. We were able to send the customer emails, and that we'll try to achieve today in the half an hour. And before that, I would like to go into the code base to understand what changes we have done. So let's get that done. Let's start with the code base. So yeah, this is the code base we have. Let's go one by one. I would close this because we are not running anything right now. So in the API, we have a folder for emails. Now this emails, at one point there was one step where I was basically getting the emails done. So this is the weekly digest TSX. TSX means it's a TypeScript tran- uh, TypeScript language like JSX, like TSX, transcript related uh, layout that we would be using. So weekly digest props is the type that we defined here. There will be display name, login URL, chart URL, income, total expense, savings, AI text, and site URL. So these are going to be the different type props or types of the of the email that we are going to send. So it will have contain a few things here and there. Now the colors, we have mentioned that there are few colors. We have specified those colors within the colors object, and then later on we have we have a function weekly digest. Now this function will be later on used in email digest as well as weekly digest. So in this one there will be a display name, logo URL, chart URL, total expense. These are going to be similar to the properties of the weekly digest props. So they are all here, and they are of the type weekly digest props. Yes, that's the definition we did on the top. And we are returning HTML with a title, weekly PennyWize digest is ready, and then it will have a viewport, and it will have the initial scale is equal to 1, and then here it's going to do a pre-header kind of header for us. In this header, it will have display visibility hidden, and then it will have the dimension specification done here in CSS. Then later on we'll start with the body. Now in the body we will have your weekly PennyWize digest is ready. It's a div with a pre-header class definition for CSS. And then later on we would have a style set here. This would be color.cards, and it would be here we would say in color.cards we have given a special white color. So I think that is a little bit different, a white color, right? I would consider that as a white color, and then we would have that background color, and then we specify the style here for that. Then later on we'll have a header, and then the header has a PennyWize, that is the name of our application, and that color would be a little different color. So color would be yellow color. So we would want to have that yellow in color. So one way we can do is we can go to the emails that we received. So I have a few emails. One of the recent most email that I had over here is, I can share it with you over here. This is the recent most email that I had, and I deleted it because I think right now I don't need it. So let's scroll up, let's go to PennyWize. So over here you can see that there is a PennyWize wording, and then the background color is yellow, so that does match. Okay, let me get this in the middle so that I can seamlessly switch. So here it says colors is equal to yellow, background color is yellow, and then we will have the logo URL. The logo URL is a URL that I tried to get from our, it's in the, it's in the mm, it's in the environment with us, not actually not in the env file, but it is in the source code. So what we need to do is we go to the source code and we go to assets, and there we would have the react hubby, um, let's see, mini, banner mini.png. So this should be this one. So we'll wait for this. This is the big one, this is the mini one. So then we have react, no, we would go for the mini, banner mini.png, and we'll try to see if that is the logo that we are going to use for the weekly digest. So that was the logo URL. We'll come to know about this later on in the send digest logic. But for now we'll keep that it is. I think there is a to do I've added to fix that, so we'll go through that once again. Then we have a greeting, and that greeting we will be in, that has some stylish style word and it has a black font. So that greeting I should see here, the hi Gaurav Palande, that is the greeting we are seeing. Display name is the user's name, so since I'm the user, it would be hi Gaurav Palande, that's the greeting we are seeing. And then it would have a gray text. The rest of the code will be, here's your financial digest, weekly financial digest. Now this one is gray text, and this is this part, here's your weekly financial digest. And then later on we would have the KPI chips. This would be the table or the presentation chart that we would have. So here it is say border collapse separate, and then you would have the, this would be table body, it would be a big table that we would be using. In the table body we would have the CSS logic here, and then we would have income, then we would have expenses listed, and then savings listed. And then for that table, then we will have a chart created. The chart will be income versus expense chart, and then within that chart we will have that chart displayed. So what we have here is, we have a table called income, expenses and savings, and we would have the total income, total expense, total savings listed. And then later on I would have a graph that we would show the income versus expense graph based on the time series that we have saved in our database. Now this one outlines. Now comes the AI part. Now since this is a monthly report, I would suggest that this comes for the premium user, and the premium user we would have 3 types of AI suggestions. So this part is the AI suggestions that we have, colors.black, so we would use that as black color. And then later on we would have all the AI suggestion listed. So AI text is the text that we have listed that we would use. Now these all objects, this all will be used. So if I control F on this, I will be able to see the definition as a parameter. Oh, so in the weekly digest props, I would pass it as a parameter. So now that tells us that, you know, we can use this as a parameter. So we can use this component later on across the board for every aspect. So that's brings the component aspect into the email, and that makes this email a React email. So that way we will have the AI text. Now for a premium user, the AI text is going to be short term, long term, So we have a short term AI text. Then I have a long term AI text over long term over emergency fund and logic over there. And then I have goal related that would be emergency goal, retirement goal, and health goal. So these would be goal related AI suggestions I would have. So that kind of helps me understand that this way I would be able to list the text. Now the colors will be black in color that we see here, and we will be reflected on the email, and we would be able to see that. In the end, after this is done, sent by PennyWize. So we are PennyWize. So 1 minute, let me, yeah. So now we come here and it would be sent by PennyWize here. Now that would be the gray color that we mentioned. And then later on after this, we would also provide the site URL. This is the part where we would want to manage the preferences. Yes, that would go to app/preferences. Now once you click on this, the once you click on this, we would be able to, let me try, let's see, manage preferences. Now since I'm on Gap is God, which is a premium user, actually let's do one thing. Let's log out, sign out from here, and let's be on the home page. Make sure we are logged out from the application. Now let's go to the page, and now let's click on manage preference. Actually, manage preference. Oh, then I think let this link may not be working, so let's add a bug here and let's try to resolve it. So manage preference and unsubscribe. Links not working. Okay, let's have it included in the list of tasks that we are doing. And yeah, as you can see, we'll move on. We'll see the manage preference and unsubscribe buttons, links present over here that directly go into the site URL unsubscribe and site URL app preferences for the user to manage the preference. So that way this HTML body is outputted, like in the return statement we have it export. So that way we are able to send the HTML, create this. So this weekly digest component, I would consider this as a component, and this component will be used across within our send digest and send monthly report. So this logic will be added there. So once now that we know about this weekly digest component, let's come a bit outside. Now to use the weekly digest component, one thing was that we needed to use the import export logic that we had to import React and export logic. Now for that to work efficiently at this level, we would have to add a package.json. Now package.json, why? In package.json, we have this type module that tells us that we are going to use modules within this folder, and that would allow us to parse import and output, import and export properly. So that is why we would have this special package.json within this folder for us to work with. Now the third one, the final part of this, is the senddigest.js. Now the senddigest.js is a big one. This one will take us maybe 10 minutes to go through. The purpose, what I understand from this, is that it's going to create the chart, but instead of listing it out in an HTML, it would just create the component and use that component. So let's do that. Let's see what it does. Let's understand everything. We have a config runtime. We mentioned that it's Node.js. Then we use the PDF document because we are going to have the PDF structure here, digest PDF. Let's see, I have added a note for this one, but yeah, yeah, we can see a PDF. Let me bring it up. See, this is the PDF that we are seeing. So this PDF is there are some issues with it. We have listed that in our Excel sheet. So that is why we need the PDF document. And then we have pass through object that is used from stream. Stream is the dependency that we had to install for us to do the pass through. Now there is also one to USD. Now to USD is just basically whatever values that we are seeing in the email, we would want to have them, whatever values we are seeing in the email, we would want to have them visible in dollars. So like that you can see dollar signs. So that's the reason we need to have this function to USD. And now we also have convert to CSV. So convert to CSV, we do not need to import anything special, but for that I think we just need to have a logic that would convert the JSON object that we are the rows, which is the JSON object. Right now it's any type, but JSON object we would be able to map the keys and headers and have them properly displayed below. Another function is called build chart URL. Now build chart URL is using the history object, and then it's going to slice and work with that array list of objects, and then it's going to have it mapped for the income data, expense data, and then it's going to see the for the expense data it's going to just keep the mortgage, utilities, car payments, credit cards, and for the income data it's going to give the income logic. So that way we are going to create the chart URL. Now in this function we are also creating a config, and we are going to say that for this chart the config is a bar chart, type of the chart is a bar chart, and the data we are going to give is the income and expense data. And then there are southern like display title and stuff that we would, these are all configuration related stuff that we would want to have for the chart. And then the URL is going to be a quick chart io/chart, and then it's going, the search parameters are going to be the config that we are going to pass, and the format is going to PNG with this 1000 and height is 500. So this one is going to give us the return the URL. So the job of this function is to build a URL, chart URL. Now the chart URL is using quickcharts.io. So that way we are able to send that across and get the chart URL, and then have it in with the width of 1000 and the height of 500 and in the PNG format. So that you can see is this chart over here. This is coming from the quick chart. And then we have the build AI suggestion. Now based on the user and the history, so now we had certain custom logic for paid users that is included here. For free users it's a one-line suggestion. And then we would have another function would be to escape HTML, and there are certain things we would want to do within the HTML. That would be the ampersand sign, the greater than, the less than signal, all that we need to escape them so that they can be parsed properly within the HTML string. And there is one function to generate email HTML. So generate email HTML is a function that takes the logo URL, site URL, display name, chart, AI text, all the various objects that we created, all the values, variables that we created are being passed here. The colors that we have used have been defined here, and then later on we are returning a HTML document. So this one is one HTML document that was created. Now this one, escape HTML, these are all the HTML body and text we have created. So okay, so this one is what was confusing me. All this logic that we see within this generate email HTML is exactly same as the logic in this function, and that would be the component return. that we are doing is weekly digest, the component return that we are doing, the props that we are using. So that one is still going on. So yeah, I think if we want to use, let's then we have the build digest PDF buffer. So this, okay, let me add, let's do this, let me add a to do. So here I would say insert text above and we'll say do not generate HTML in send digest, but use weekly digest component. So this one I would move this one Control X to Control V. This one I will see what we can do about it. Right now let's leave it for send digest. We are not in the weekly digest logic yet, we are in the send digest. Let's see how if we can remove this or we can make it into a send digest logic. Then comes the build digest buffer PDF buffer. So this function I believe is for the PDF attachment that we are creating. So in the PDF attachment I would have the PDF document created in letter size and which has a margin of 48, and then we would have certain buffer related stream data mentioned here. We are going to stream the data to the buffer, and then we are going to create a summary, all that. We have a chart png, and then chart is being used. Then we have recent dates, recent retries, AI suggestions, and then end with the, so that HTML that we saw here, the PDF, sorry, the PDF that we saw has the AI expenses, the chart, the entries, as well as the initial values of total income, total expense, and estimated savings. Now comes the handler part. This is where the send digest basically works. So send digest would look at the query. So it will look at the query and it will see if there is a dry run parameter passed into the query. If a dry run parameter is passed into the query, then it would just give a OK message saying dry run, no email sent. So that comes in handy when we run this. So when you in the object, when you send PennyWize versal.api send digest dry run is equal to 1, so that when we run it, it says okay true message dry run, no email sent. Now this is when this one is sent when when you want to test the email functionality. Before, I would run the email functionality multiple times in a day to just see if anything is running correctly or not, or are we able to run the logic, or are we having any build errors or any execution errors. Now using this dry run logic, we don't have to worry about sending those emails to the customer, and we can keep those customer preferences as they are, but we can test the other aspects without any problem. So that's why we had the URL set up, the dry run URL. Now second is, if it is not dry run, then what we are going to do, we are going to use the whole process of using Supabase, using resend, and then creating the all the list of preferences and all the people who would want the weekly digest, who have subscribed to the weekly digest, get them for each user ID, and then do that. We need to, for each user we have to get the history for that ID, we have to get the last transactions. We might have some error catching here for the history gathering, and then later on we would want to get the all the parameters, total expense, total income, and then we would want to build the AI suggestions. That AI text will be created out of it using user and the history, and then generate email HTML, that is the function we would want we would pass the parameters there, and then we would have the history in the attachments. We would have the history.csv that, and then we would convert to CSV, and then we would have the PDF created here, PDF buffer, and have it attached to attachment.push the PDF buffer of type PDF. And that way we would be able to do the generate the whole email, like the whole email structure with the body of the email as well as the attachments to it. And then we would use resend to send the emails across from the PennyWize stingyhb.xyz domain that we have created. We might change it next year, but for now I think it should be good. Now we have the Supabase. Yeah, so this one we would send the status as sent for that customer and have it saved in the email logs, and type would be weekly. That would be the weekly email sent, and if it is not sent then we would have a failure, and then we would give a log, console.log, that this whole section is done. So this was the logic for the send digest. Now we have there are few things we need to do. Let's go through them one by one. Number one is do not generate HTML in send digest, but use weekly digest component. So yeah, I think that is one thing we would want. We would want to use the weekly digest.tsx instead of send monthly report, because later on if we want to make any changes in the email body, then we just have to change the component. We don't have to change the whole send digest and everything else. We just have to change the component. That will make it more modular in nature. Number two, in email PennyWize logo is showing with a question mark. So now that one is this question mark that we are seeing. Usually what I feel is that it's not able to locate. So let's see where it is, and we'll see what we can do about it. So send monthly, no, send digest. Within send digest we would have the HTML body, and within the HTML body we would have the logo. So let's get the logo URL. The logo URL, control F, if you do it, it comes from the generate email body, and that one comes from below, where we would try to generate email body, and that we pass the email logo, which should come from somewhere over here. This is logo URL is going to be the site slash brand slash, let's look at this. So the site we have is going to be https://app slash brand. Let's go here. This is our testing. So let's slash brand. Let's copy that part. PNG. Do we see the logo? Let's see. This one. Do we? No, 404 not found. Yeah, we are seeing this one. So I think we need to figure that one out, how we can get the PennyWize logo into the application. So yeah, we should figure out why we are getting a 404 not found. In email PDF, we'll figure it out as time comes by and in our next videos. In email PDF attachment, recent entries and AI suggestion text is overlapping over the graph image. Now that one is associated with this one in the PDF. So we will have to figure out when we create the stream, what are we doing. If we are able to get this thing resolved, then the layout will look good. Make same changes for monthly reports. Now for monthly reports on the 1st of every month, I do not see a logic. So I would want to have the same logics. Once we figure out the logic with send digest, we will be able to do the same thing for monthly reports. So let me move this down. That would be a great idea, right? Let's move it down. So now this one has come near. So that once we figure out everything for send digest weekly reports, we would make the change for the monthly report. Now Now then next after that, manage preference and okay, manage preference and unsubscribe links. Oh sorry, there's a typo. Manage preference and unsubscribe link not working. Yeah, this one is on the email. We would want to use, have them enabled and be able the for the user to go into the application, having him logged in and go into the application and make the changes as he needs. So this one we will work on slowly. We haven't looked into this one we will look into it after we are able to look. So that's all for today's video guys. I think we have gone through the changes we have looked into. We understand at a higher level what the things are. Yeah, for to implement all of this did require some time for us to understand how we can make the email generation or the body of the email as a component and then use it as a React email. So yeah, let's see how we can continue on working on this and implement it in the future. Thank you so much guys for being in the video and have a wonderful day.